TikTok says your data won't be seen by China because it's stored in the US, but a new report reveals that China can still see it. A three-part explosion rattles a petrochemical plant in Shanghai. Severe flooding sweeps southern China. The region is coping with damages as torrents tear down roads and bridges and cause other issues. Will the Biden administration remove tariffs on some Chinese goods? Both the president and the Treasury secretary discussed the possibility over the weekend. And 4 days, that's all it took to find a replacement heart for an organ transplant patient. But an expert is drawing attention to the seemingly unbelievable speed and asking, is a Chinese hospital harvesting organs? Welcome to China in Focus. I'm Tiffany Meyer. Leaked recordings suggest that TikTok user data stored in the U.S. could still be accessed by employees in China and land in the hands of the Chinese Communist Party. The popular video sharing app boasts nearly 140 million monthly active users in the U.S., and most of them are teenagers. Here's a closer look.
Your personal data could have already been seen by the Chinese Communist Party. That is, if you use TikTok. TikTok is owned by Chinese company ByteDance, and leaked recordings from internal meetings, seen by BuzzFeed, reveal that China-based employees of ByteDance have repeatedly looked at American TikTok users' private data. Casey Fleming is the CEO of cybersecurity firm Black Ops Partners, and he has some advice for TikTok users.
You must understand and you must assume that technology from China is tracking personal information that can be used against you and your values.
It's unclear specifically what kind of private information was seen by Chinese employees, but according to the leaked recordings, everything can be seen and some employees have access to everything. The BuzzFeed report comes in contrast to TikTok previously denying allegations of sharing user data in China and says they would never do that even if it was asked to.
It's to have plausible deniability, and it's all about gaslighting and creating their own narratives. TikTok was developed in China with Chinese developers. It's controlled by the Chinese Communist Party.
The leaked recordings contain 14 statements from 9 different TikTok employees. It reveals that at the very least, engineers in China had access to U.S. data between September 2021 and January 2022. As of April this year, TikTok has nearly 138 million monthly active users in the U.S. 10-year-olds to 19-year-olds account for the majority of this figure. Don Ma, NTD News.
An explosion rocked a petrochemical plant in Shanghai this weekend. The incident sparked at around 4 a.m. Saturday. At least one person died in the blast. Another suffered injuries. That's as reported by state media. The explosion happened in 3 sections, each relatively distant from the other 2. All 3 went off inside an ethylene glycol processing complex in Shanghai, operated by the Sinopec gas company. Residents from as far as 4 miles away got woken up by the blast. It also shattered windows on some nearby houses. Many fled from their homes after hearing the explosion, causing traffic jams. A lingering heavy cloud of smoke has raised concerns about the possibility of poisonous air pollution in the aftermath of the explosion. Locals said they still could smell a pungent odor 3 days later. A social media post shared back in May could shed light on what caused the problem. An annual safety examination was reportedly postponed amid the city's recently eased 2-month lockdown. The user who shared the post said the lack of proper safety check is likely the biggest reason behind the accident. Here's what he wrote online. In my social media group chat, there's a worker from the petrochemical plant. The factory has been closed since this round of the pandemic started. Workers stay in the factory to work. He said equipment should be examined and fixed once a year, but the examination has been delayed by the pandemic for 2 months. If they don't pause operations to do the maintenance, it may cause an explosion with a loud bang. Torrential rains are drenching large swaths of southern China. Powerful flood currents have so far caused property destruction and even deaths as the first bout of summer rains reached the peak of their power. Let's look at what's happening.
China's flood season is in full swing. Heavy rains are pounding vast tracts of southern China, triggering floods in cities and mudslides in rural areas. Footage from Chinese state media shows streets transformed into overflowing rivers as torrents break fences, submerge bridges, and sweep cars and houses away. Even fire trucks were carried off by floodwaters. Those images were captured in Guangdong province. Also in the southeast, in the neighboring autonomous region of Guangxi, 5 villagers were killed when a wooden house gave way. The structure had been lashed by torrential rains. That's according to a Chinese state media report on Saturday. Mudslides and a number of road collapses were also reported. The rainfall recorded in some areas has been the heaviest China has seen in 60 years. According to state media outlet Xinhua, torrential rains have affected nearly 275,000 residents as of Friday.
While floods take their toll in some areas, searing heat waves are doing the same in others. Temperatures are breaking records in central China's Henan province. So far, much of the region is seeing temperatures above 98 degrees. While some areas are baking at highs above 104 degrees Fahrenheit, the equivalent to 40 degrees Celsius. So far, the province's highest recorded temperature reached a scorching 107 degrees. In some places, the intense weather has caused street cement and pavement to swell and burst. Chinese weather forecasters say the heat wave will persist until Wednesday. Amid soaring inflation, the Biden administration is considering removing some China tariffs that were imposed during the Trump era. Both the president and the Treasury secretary mentioned it over the weekend. NTD's Jessica Beatty reports.
President Biden may remove some China tariffs to try to bring down inflation. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told ABC's This Week Sunday that everyone recognizes that China doesn't play fair when it comes to trade, and it's important to address. But she said some of the tariffs they inherited served no strategic purpose and raised costs for consumers.
And so reconfiguring some of those tariffs so they make more sense and reduce unnecessary burdens is something that's under consideration.
President Biden told reporters Saturday he plans to talk to Chinese regime leader Xi Jinping soon as he weighs whether to lift some China tariffs from the Trump era. Top national security and economic aides are completing a review of U.S. tariff policy and making recommendations.
Have you made up your mind on China tariffs, sir?
We're in the process of doing that.
You're lifting the tariffs?
We're in the process of making up my mind.
Former President Trump imposed up to 25% tariffs on billions of dollars of Chinese goods. It was to combat the Chinese regime's unfair trade practices. Last month, Republican Senator Bill Hagerty told Fox Business that removing the China tariffs would take away the only trade leverage the U.S. has.
I can understand why Catherine Tai, the current trade representative, doesn't want to do this. It's just another gimmick that the Biden administration is pursuing, and again, a net benefit to China.
Meanwhile, Yellen also said Sunday that she believes the U.S. economy will slow down, but she doesn't believe a recession is inevitable. Americans aren't so optimistic. A poll carried out last week by The Economist and YouGov found that 56% of Americans think the U.S. is already in a recession. And according to the latest survey by business research firm The Conference Board, 15% of global CEOs claim their regions are already in a recession. More than 60% of global CEOs expect a recession in the next 12 to 18 months. Jessica Beatty, NTD News.
How many days does it take for a transplant patient to get a new heart? In China, the answer may be as short as 4 days. That's all it took for doctors there to find a replacement organ for one teacher. But the seemingly unbelievable speed of the process raised questions. And now, an expert has accused the hospital of harvesting organs from live, non-consenting donors.
A recent proposal circulating among Chinese college students has caught public attention. Chinese state media reported that a teacher from northwestern China's Lanzhou University suffered a heart attack earlier last month. His name is Mu Jianggang. But while he was waiting for heart transplant surgery, a proposal for emergency relief started spreading online. The proposal suggested that students donate to help cover the medical expenses for his surgery. State media reported that Mu went into surgery on May 10th, just 4 days later. During the procedure, his failing heart was replaced with a healthier donor organ. But the surprising speed of the surgery attracted the attention of Dr. Wang Zhiyuan, president of the World Organization to investigate the persecution of Falun Gong. The organization, also known as WOIPFG, is a nonprofit dedicated to probing Beijing's ongoing campaign against the Falun Gong meditation practice. Addressing Mu's surgery, Dr. Wang Zhiyuan called it incredible and unbelievable that a matching donor heart be found and a transplant operation completed in less than a week. But his words carry a darker meaning. As a doctor, Wang spent 30 years studying how to save lives, but he says he never imagined that he would spend decades investigating how Chinese doctors take lives. Wang is one of many experts who believe China is running a large-scale living organ supply bank, one with an organ pool so large that it can provide organ matches at virtually any time.
These people who have completed various examinations are concentrated in some places. Then once a patient needs an organ, they will find matching people in their database, in the human body library, according to the matching needs of the patient. Only in this way can they find an organ so quickly. Otherwise, it is impossible.
In April of last year, the WOIPFG released an investigative report. It accused Wuhan Union Medical College Hospital of participating in the regime's organized underground organ transplant market and of harvesting organs from people while they're still alive. The report also alleged that the hospital is involved in the crime of organ harvesting from Falun Gong practitioners and other groups.
Because the CCP's organ harvesting from live people has corrupted social morality and the judicial system. It harvests organs from live Falun Gong practitioners as capital to build a bloody business that is more profitable than arms and drug trafficking. Because the industrial chain is dominated by the CCP, the people involved are unscrupulous, and with the stimulation of huge profit, their greed has been constantly developing. When the organs of Falun Gong practitioners cannot satisfy their greed, they naturally extend their evil doing to the rest of society.
Wang says the Communist Party's organ transplant crimes have influenced the whole of Chinese society.
In 2013, a 6-year-old child named Xiaobing Bing in Shanxi province disappeared and was found 2 days later, but his eyeball had been gouged out. His corneas were gone too.
Wang adds that the CCP has adopted extreme measures in its persecution of Falun Gong and has turned illegal organ harvesting practices into a highly profitable business. What's more, that huge profit encourages further crimes.
A Taiwan hospital announced last Friday that it would not renew its employment contracts with 2 doctors. That's because they conducted organ transplant surgeries in mainland China without reporting the procedures to the hospital. The Changhua Christian Hospital said in a statement, the Chinese Communist Party continues to harvest organs from living human beings. The targets include Tibetans, Uyghurs, Christians, and most commonly, Falun Gong practitioners. The statement added that the 2 doctors have conducted multiple organ transplant surgeries in China and have gone against the rules for transparent and traceable organ sources. The hospital is concerned that they violated medical ethics. Organ harvesting practices in China have received increasing criticism in recent years. The 2021 U.S. report on international religious freedom cited UN officials to highlight Chinese organ harvesting. It went on to list a similar lineup of targeted groups in detention in China, including Falun Gong practitioners, Uyghurs, Tibetans, Muslims, and Christians. Last month, the European Parliament passed a resolution condemning organ harvesting in China. It's the body's 3rd similar resolution in the past decade. That's all for today's China in Focus on YouTube. We're now sharing a shortened version of our program here, after being demonetized for more than a year. Here's what's coming up in our second half. China's oil imports from Russia hit record levels. Beijing is further profiting from discounted supplies, while Western countries enforce sanctions on Russia over its invasion of Ukraine. And the Pacific region remains in focus for Australia's new government. During its first visit to island countries in the region, a security pact with Beijing appears to be at the top of the watch list. The full episode is available on our partner platform, AppWalk TV. To sign up, click the link down below. Thanks for watching China in Focus. I'm Tiffany Mai, and see you tomorrow.
Every once in a while, something comes along so masterful, it leaves you in awe. So inspiring, it changes your life. So beautiful, you wish it would never end. When that happens, it's something not to be missed. Shen Yun, an all-new production every year.
The performance was enchanting.
I feel better about the world. I feel uplifted.
It touches you. It really does.
The expertise of the dancers was really, really strong.
To know that it was live music was really fantastic.
We didn't want to miss this.
Make sure you see it.
Have to come. Life-changing.